Hey, champ, you got him on the ropes. I don't know what you're worried about. We got him. We're just gonna go ahead and pound him a little bit more. I know he beat you up a little bit, but it's okay. You can come back, right? You understand what I'm saying to you? Do you understand what I'm saying to you, champ? Champ, listen to me. Okay, here's the plan. We're gonna go in and we're gonna do another couple rounds.
Listen, Blizz, I appreciate everything you're doing for me and all that, but I don't think we could win this fight, Blizz. We have like nothing on our side. ArenaNet is just pounding me over here, and I just can't win this fight because I don't know. I think we just don't have a chance. Do you think we have a chance? Tell me we got a chance.
You didn't get the name WOW for doing nothing. I tell you, you got him on the ropes. You got him on the ropes. You can do this. You can do this. Can I get a roar? Can I get a roar? You're the champ.
Poor slob. He doesn't even know he's dying.
Hello and welcome to the Geekasaurus. We are doing round 3 of Guild Wars 2 versus World of Warcraft. I didn't think we were going to need a third round, but apparently we do. There was a bunch of people writing me on both YouTube, Twitter, email, and everything, telling me I forgot this and this and this and this. So we're going to go ahead and do all of that. We'll cover that in just a second. And if you're watching this on YouTube right about now, you should see a link up the top to skip to the end. At the end, we're going to summarize basically all 3 videos into one, talk about each specific difference between the 2 games. So if you just want to hear how it ends, go ahead and click that link now. If you're watching this on Blip, you're just going to have to watch the whole thing. Okay, first, let's get to the Holy Trinity, and I'm not talking about God and all of that. I'm talking about in World of Warcraft, there is a tank, a healer, and a DPS, or a couple of DPS, depending on what type of mission you're running. Tank's job in this Trinity is to get the monster or the boss to focus directly at him, because he has the most armor and he can take the most damage. This allows the healer to focus heals just on the tank and occasionally throw a couple heals over to the DPS from time to time. Much like a fire triangle, if any one side of this triangle does not work, the tank isn't holding aggro, the healers aren't healing, or the DPS are not downing the boss fast enough, it all collapses and it's a wipe. In theory, it's a good system. It allows people to pick a role and stick with that role. That is also the problem with the system, because you get stuck in a particular role. If you pick a character like a priest in World of Warcraft, the priest can do some DPS. They have a DPS spec, and the DPS spec is pretty good. Primarily, though, priests are expected to be healers. Kind of makes sense. And if you get stuck in a guild or a group and you're constantly healing, that's all you can do. It gets to be really, really old, really, really fast. Same thing for a tank. You get stuck in a tank role, all you're doing is tanking. It's no fun. And when the party wipes, 99% of the time, the DPS will always blame either the tank or the healer. And it's very tough to be the brunt of all of the bitching and complaining that goes on in an MMO, because these insecure people are all too ready to tell you you suck because you didn't heal them even though they were standing in the fire, or you didn't keep the aggro because they instantly started dumping every single thing they could because they want to get to the top of the recount as fast as possible, so that when people go, why aren't we winning, they go, well, look at me, I'm at the top of the recount and therefore I'm doing my job. No, you're still a noob and you suck. Okay, so if this system is kind of broken, what is Guild Wars 2 going to do about it? Well, they are just chucking it right out the window. Every class has the ability to heal themselves, and if they spec right, they can actually heal each other a little bit. Nobody is an actual healer. Okay, so that is out the window. Some can do a little bit of things that they call control. When they control, it's almost like they're taunting, but not really. They can control the mobs from attacking a single person, maybe pull them back, maybe do some kind of crowd control with them, and that prevents them from pounding on another party member, but it necessarily does not pull them to focus on you for a long period of time like you would in a normal tank. And then everybody DPSs. So how am I going to side with this one? Well, I'm going to call it a tie, because the old system with World of Warcraft is annoying and painful, but it kind of works. The new system with Guild Wars 2 hasn't really been tried yet for long periods of time. I'm really eager to see how it works out. I think it'll work pretty good and I'm excited about it, but there's no data to really say this is a fantastic way to do an MMO. because every other MMO out there forever has had the tank, heals, and DPS sort of setup. It's not World of Warcraft's idea. It was actually in EverQuest and all the MMOs prior to it. So let's see how it works. So it's a tie for this one. Let's move on to another tie. I'm going to tell you it's a tie right off the bat because it's going to be a quickie. Transmutation. In Guild Wars 2, you will have Transmutation stones, which you can use to make your armor look like some other armor. If you're working on your Hall of Monuments, you will get a set of armor, and then that armor can automatically be transmuted to anything you're wearing, so it will look like that awesome armor you got for your Hall of Monuments no matter what you're wearing, if you want it that way. Guild Wars 2 will also have Transmutation stones, which you can purchase for gems to change the way your armor looks. If you find some really awesome, cool, glowy shoulders, but they're only level 10, and by the time you're level 80, you would really like to keep wearing those glowy shoulders, you can with the Transmutation stones. And of course, World of Warcraft has a similar thing where you can go into a Transmutation Specialist and you can take your really awesome Tier 1 set and put it on your current set that you got that's all mismatched and kind of a mess. So it's kind of a neat feature. You can change the way your character looks and not really have to wear the goofy stuff that you don't want to anymore, which was a problem with Burning Crusade in World of Warcraft. So this, we're just going to call a tie. Let's move on to the next one. OMG Racials. Okay, so the idea is if you're playing a Tauren, and that Tauren probably can't be a rogue, right? Because he's too big and fat and he can't sneak around, and everyone's going to see this big cow walking around with a little dagger in his hand. Makes sense. And because of that, World of Warcraft set up racials. And racials means that a particular race can do certain classes, but they cannot do all of the classes. And they also get certain racial bonuses, like gnomes, for instance, are really good at engineering, and Worgen are good at skinning. Kind of makes sense. Because of this, it sort of forces players to play a certain race class combo. And therefore, if you ever wanted to play anything different, say you really did want to play a Tauren rogue, you couldn't for one, but say that was an option, people would make fun of you. Oh my gosh, Tauren don't have any special +2 to their stealth that the other race does. It was silly, okay, but it was a way also for people to kind of make comments about the character you want to play. So even though you thought it'd be fun and cute to play a Tauren rogue, they would give you a hard time about it. So what's Guild Wars 2 going to do about racials? Well, forget them. Doesn't matter. Every single race that you play in the game can be every single profession, which in World of Warcraft was called class. Every single race can be every single class, no matter what. So if you really want to play a Norn thief, you can. And I did play one in one of the betas. It was kind of fun, because I made him as small as I possibly could, and he was just a little bit bigger than a human, but not by much. There are no racial bonuses, so Norn don't get to engineer any better than somebody else, or whatever. So every single race is viable for every single class. Well, that is very cool, so we are going to give the win for this one to Guild Wars 2. Alright, let's move on to our next topic. We are going to talk a little bit about death and dying. No, I'm not going to get all emo on you at this point, but you know, in every MMO you need to die. If you didn't die, then the fun wouldn't be there because there would be no risk. You have to have risk versus reward, right? That's the whole reason we play a game, is risk versus reward. If there were no risk and you couldn't die, then where would the fun be? So normally in most MMOs, the way it happened is they punished you for dying. I'll go back to EverQuest real quick about this one, because EverQuest was probably the worst death and dying mechanic. The way they did it was they punished you. First off, you would lose all of your items if you could not get back to your corpse. And if your corpse died somewhere where things were going to be killing you quite often because they were all aggroing on you, the chance of you getting back and getting to your corpse was pretty slim. So if you got back there and then they killed you again, yes, you died again. And you would have to try to loot both corpses if you were lucky. But that probably wasn't going to happen. And on top of that, every time you died, you lost experience. I played EverQuest from the very beginning, and I eventually became a guide because I worked for Sony. And I would have to help people out. And there were times that I would try to help people that were having this problem. I could kill all the monsters that were in the area so they could get back to the corpse and get it, but I could not grant them their experience back. On top of that, it happened to me. I was trying to get back to my corpse once that died near a Dark Elf outpost. And I went back time and time again thinking I could get my corpse and I would grab it and I'd be like, okay, great, and I'd run away, and as I'm running away, because I'm only just res, I didn't have a lot of health, died again. And I lost 3 levels. And in EverQuest time, that was like 2 weeks worth of work. Because they were really the first, this cruel unusual punishment was fine because that's all we had. Then World of Warcraft came out and they said, no, we don't want to punish you like that. But what we are going to do is we're going to make your armor get damaged, and you're still going to have to run back to your corpse. So you're going to have to take 20-30 minutes of your time to get back to your corpse if it's out in the middle of nowhere. Now remember, on the surface it looks like they're just being really sadistic a-holes. But they are trying to get more money because that's what this is all about. It's a subscription model, and if you're paying a monthly subscription and it takes you 2 hours of your time to try to keep getting back to your corpse, that's 2 more hours that you're paying for. The makers of Guild Wars 2, ArenaNet, decided, hey, they're not paying a subscription, why do we want to punish them? Well, we will have to pay for damage to our armor, just a little bit, okay? It's not a lot. And also, when you first get killed, you go into what's called a down state. And while you're in that down state, if you can defeat the thing you're fighting, or defeat anything that's around that area that is fighting you, like say there's 3 monsters attacking you and one's almost dead, if you can kill that one, you come right back up. You don't have full health, but you can get back on your feet because then you can throw yourself a heal or whatever. While you're in the down state, you can support your teammates, and they can heal and res you from that down state. Now that's while you're in combat. While you're out of combat, every single person can revive everybody in the game. You can revive anybody at any point. And I think it is also in combat. So if somebody's completely dead and you have a whole group fighting somebody over there, you can walk over to them and you can revive them off the ground. That is just fantastic. So death and dying, we're going to go ahead and give that to Guild Wars 2. The punishment is not nearly as bad as in other MMOs. Alright, this is going to be a really quick one. Mob experience points. If you are level 5 and you go out and kill a level 5 frog. Level 5 frog in World of Warcraft is worth 100 experience points. Alright, I'm making up numbers, we're just going to use it as this. Level 5 frog in Guild Wars 2, well, kind of depends on how long it's been alive. The longer that a mob stays alive and is not killed, the more experience it's worth. So it kind of makes it worth going off the beaten path to kill something. Kind of cool. So we're going to give experience for creatures to Guild Wars 2. A lot more in depth than that, but we're just going to speed right through because we got more stuff to cover. Okay, while we're on the subject of experience, let's talk about mob tagging. Mob tagging in World of Warcraft and most other MMOs means that player A is walking through a field, player B is walking through a field, there is a mob in the middle, and the mob is experience granting to both of them, meaning that it's appropriately their level. So say player A is level 10, player B is level 10, and the mob is level 10. So both of them want to get it. Whoever gets there first in World of Warcraft gets it. So if both of them run up and both of them start hitting it, whoever hit it first tags it, meaning that the other player will help kill it, but the other player will get 0 experience points, which leads to a lot of animosity. Am I correct? You can see how this is a problem. Because 2 people might say, oh, I saw it first because I was coming over the top of this hill and I saw it first. No, I saw it first and it's mine. Not only did the player who helped get 0 experience, but they don't get any of the loot that might have been on that monster. So they're losing out all around. They basically help the guy kill it for free and he gets nothing. And the other guy sits there and laughs and rofle stomps and goes har 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 and just wants to troll on this guy because he's so stupid he wasn't there first. See what I mean? Lots of problems. Okay, so let's see what happens in Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2, 2 players run up, attack the level 10 creature. They both kill it. They both get the experience that it would be there for that level. And they both get loot. This is an obvious win to Guild Wars 2 for experience sharing with fighting critters. Okay, I think one of the last things we want to cover in this video will be crafting. Crafting in an MMO is designed by the developer to give players who don't feel like going out and killing monsters and creatures a way to do something else and feel like they're doing stuff. So in most MMOs it's kind of like it is in World of Warcraft. You grind away at recipes that will be beneficial to no one. Okay, so you start off and you're a tailor. We'll just use tailor as an example. You find some linen, you go ahead and buy some string, and you make yourself a vest. The vest is like level 0, has no stats on it whatsoever, so what are you going to end up doing? You're going to turn around, you're going to sell that vest to the vendor for 1 copper, and it costs you 30 silver to make. So you just dump money into it, okay? Next thing, you just keep grinding away at that, and then eventually you can earn the right to do another recipe. And the next recipe is a little bit better. But you're, say, level 5 when you start doing this crafting. It's probably I don't know, 6 hours down the road before anything you're going to make is something you could actually wear. And you're going to level faster than you're working on your crafting, so you actually never make anything for yourself ever. What crafting is good for is the very final stuff you can make. You have to rep grind and you have to work your way into dungeons and get certain items to make these pieces of gear that somebody might buy because they're exactly the same as stuff that they could find out in the world. So what the heck good is that? So you can make them boots of poning, or they can get the Uber boots of the Falcon, which drop off some mob out in the world. Now the materials it took to make the boots of ponage were super expensive, and you had to farm them forever, or you have to buy them off the auction house. Say you have to buy them off the auction house. You have to spend 4,000 or 5,000 gold to get the equipment that you need, or the materials that you need to make these boots. If somebody goes out and wins them first time they kill a boss, why would they ever want to spend 8,000 on yours? Because you have to make a little bit of profit. It costs you 7,900 gold, and you're going to sell them for 100 gold profit, and they're going to sit in the auction house for weeks, and you're going to have to put more money into it because somebody's not going to buy them. So they keep sitting there and keep sitting there, and your profit's just going down every time because Blizzard takes a cut every single time you put something up on the auction house. So crafting in games like World of Warcraft are just an incredible money sink and a time waster. They really are. Let's move ahead to Guild Wars 2. First off, in World of Warcraft, I'll go back real quick, you do not get any experience for anything you craft. Guild Wars 2, you can sit at a crafting table, and the only time it takes you to run back and forth to get your stuff off the auction house is the only time you're not at the crafting table. That time there spent, you can go from level 0 to level 80 without ever leaving the crafting table. How epic is that? And the items that you craft at this crafting table will be usable by everybody, and they're a lot better in some cases than the stuff you find out in the real world. So yes, you could find boots of ponage out in the real world, okay? But your boots of ponage will have a little bit better stats. Why the heck not? Why do we want to spend time as crafters and get 0 reward? Because they want you to keep playing an MMO like World of Warcraft, so you keep spending your money for your subscription fee. When there's no subscription fee, do you see how this frees everything up? Now, it's not all sunshine and roses with Guild Wars 2. You are going to have some special equipment that comes from karma points, and I did not see any way that crafters could earn karma points other than going out and doing some quests. So, in theory it works, but I think there will probably be quests in the city that you're doing your crafting in that will get you the karma points you need. So if you're like a baker and you need chocolate chips, which are a karma item to go to the next level of your crafting, then you will probably have to do some sort of quests around the crafting tables that will get you your karma points. I think that's the way they kind of have it set up. I did not see that, so I can't say 100% for sure. But either way, we're going to give the win for crafting to Guild Wars 2. Okay, everybody, we made it to the end. Here we are. So, I'm going to go ahead and let this scroll here, and you'll be able to see what the overall score was, but basically it's a resounding victory for Guild Wars 2. It is a far superior game, at least in my opinion, than World of Warcraft. You guys can have your own opinion. This is just mine, and I'm just kind of putting these videos up as just something to watch. So you can either agree with me or you don't have to. That's fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But this is mine, so here we are. So this is what I think of Guild Wars 2 versus World of Warcraft. There might be some little minutia I missed here or there, but I think I covered everything pretty well. If I did miss something majorly drastic, I might do like a little addendum video, but at this point I think we've kind of flogged the horse quite a bit. So let's let the horse rest, and as long as you guys agree with me, I will see you August 25th at midnight. We can start playing Guild Wars 2 and get our characters all set up and all that. Work on your Hall of Monuments, guys. If you're playing Guild Wars 1, you have a couple more weeks to get that all settled. So keep on keeping on, and until next time, as always, I gotta say, See ya! Everything I did for you, Blizz, and this is how you repay me? Mr. Pandaria, I'm gonna rip your friggin' head off! No, champ, don't do it! No! Ah!